Hey everybody! Hopefully you probably by now have done your new vocab and previewed some of our new reader here, Matter and Energy Cycles. Cute little fella here on the cover. And maybe you already did something like this where you took a little picture walk through it to kind of get some ideas of the things we might be learning about, just to kind of get you thinking before we start this reading. So I'm going to go through the first section, of the reader, and I'm going to maybe do some reading and highlighting along with you, and then I probably will help you a little bit get ready to do the 2-column notes for pages 5 and 8. So doing this might also help you with that. Okay, so our first page, page 4, subtitles, this says living things, and then we have life in a pond. And over here it said to us, what are you visualizing, right? What are you picturing in your mind? What sensory details do you associate or connect with when you think of a pond? I have to say, I think it's sometimes a little bit smelly. So maybe this one. Okay, let's start to read. On its surface, a pond looks quiet and still. Ponds are small bodies of fresh water that are shallow enough for sunlight to reach the bottom and for rooted plants to grow. However, ponds are full of activity. They are filled with living things, some so tiny they cannot be seen with the human eye. These tiny living things are called microscopic. For example, a single drop of pond water can hold millions of microscopic bacteria. Many different kinds of plants and animals also make their home in ponds. Plants are living things that capture energy from sunlight for growth and development. Water lilies are a common plant found in ponds. I've seen those before when I've been canoeing. Animals are living things that eat other organisms for energy and undergo growth and reproduction. An organism is a complete living thing. Frogs, insects, and fish are common animals that live in ponds. What are some of the living things that you heard about that live in a pond? Well, I know I heard about animals and plants. So there's different kinds of plants like water lilies. Maybe I'll just highlight the word plant too. Oh, I actually like this whole sentence, many different kinds of plants and animals. Animals, maybe like frogs, insects, fish, right? They all live in ponds too. Okay, so this is one of the pages you're going to do 2-column notes on. You have it, says page 5. I think it might say classwork on the front, but really it's homework. So I want you to think as you read this page, what is this page mostly about? And be careful because sometimes these subheadings can be deceiving and they're not always what it really is, the page is really about. All organisms, all organisms from the microscopic bacteria to the croaking frog have something in common. They are all made of cells. A cell is the smallest unit of life. Cells are made up of molecules, which are 2 or more atoms joined together. Living things take in new molecules from air, food, and liquid. These molecules get into the cells and help them function. Some living things, such as bacteria, are made up of just one cell. These organisms are called single-celled organisms. Other organisms are made up of many cells. These organisms are multi-celled organisms. Plants and animals are both kinds of multi-celled organisms. Don't forget, make sure you always read these little graphics too, because they might give you information that you need. Cells are alive because they use energy to carry out life functions. Life functions include growing, developing, and getting energy from food. Energy is required because it powers all these actions. Plant and animal cells have different structures in that help them carry out their life functions. A structure is the way in which parts are put together to form a whole. Sorry guys, I had to pause there for a minute because Mrs. Gramolini interrupted me. She said, "Are you recording?" I said, "Yes." So I have to be honest, I don't actually know where I was. I think I was down here somewhere. I'm going to pick up again right here if that's okay. And if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. And if not, good news. So plant and animal cells have different structures that help them carry out their life functions. A structure is the way in which parts are put together to form a whole. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the picture that we drew about a plant and how a plant needs different structures to make it a whole piece. The internal structures of a plant or animal cell are called its organelles. Funky. I know I've heard the word organ before. Each organelle has a specific function. Function is the normal action of something or how something works. All right, so let's think for a minute. This said living things are made of cells. What was this page mostly about? It did talk a lot about cells, right? So if you look at your 2-column notes, I would say that we could safely say that the main idea, I don't know why it's not doing that. I like to go this way. Why can't I go this way? You silly thing. I'm gonna try. I don't want to give you all the answers. Aha. All organisms are all excuse me, all organisms are made of cells. You can go ahead and fill that in. So look at your details, okay? Go through your text. Remember, they go in order. So look through the text and see if you can find the words that go in the rest of page 5. Okay, so now we have a little bit left to do. We have page 6, 7, and 8. Okay, parts of a cell. Quiz your mom and dad on this kind of stuff, by the way, because maybe they remember learning about some of these things. All cells are filled with a jelly-like liquid. This liquid is called cytoplasm, and it surrounds all of the organelles. The cell membranes surround the cells and select what molecules can enter and exit the cell. The cell membrane is flexible. This is why cells can be many different shapes. The control center of a plant and animal cells is the nucleus. It tells all of the other organelles what to do. This is possible because the nucleus contains the cell's DNA. Have you ever heard of DNA before? DNA is an instruction manual for how the cell should look and what it should do. The workers that power the cell are called the mitochondria. Mitochondria are organelles that break down food into usable energy. The storage centers of the cell are the vacuoles. So make sure you look over here. Let's look, okay, we got vacuole here, mitochondria here. Oh yeah, there's that nucleus here, the cytoplasm all around. Vacuoles are large sacs that store water and food for the cell. Plant cells contain a larger central vacuole than an animal cell. 90% of a plant cell is taken up by the central vacuole. A plant wilts if its cells lose water in their central vacuole. So you might want to pause, you might want to go back and highlight and think about what were the different parts of the cell that you heard mentioned. Maybe you want to highlight cytoplasm. Maybe look here and kind of match up these words, right? Maybe you want to highlight cell membrane. You want to highlight nucleus, the mitochondria, the vacuole. And I want you to also notice that this mentioned a couple times that this is an animal cell, which a plant cell will look different. We'll see that on the next page. Okay, plant cells. Plants have additional parts. Don't worry about this for right now. We can talk about that in class. Plant cells have other differences as well. Plant cells have cell walls in addition to a cell membrane. Cell walls are stiff fibers that help plants stay rigid and stand up. Animal cells lack cell walls, so they are less rigid. For this reason, animal cells can take many different shapes. Plant cells also have organelles that are called chloroplasts. And that word chloroplast, I think I know that word like chlorophyll, or whatever it has something to do with that. Chloroplasts absorb energy from the sun to make their own food. Chloroplasts contain a green pigment, called chlorophyll. This pigment absorbs sunlight and gives plant cells their green color. The sunlight absorbed by the chloroplasts begins the process that we know as photosynthesis. Photosynthesis uses the sun's energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into a kind of sugar called glucose. Glucose holds stored chemical energy, and plants use the glucose for growth and development. So although some of these things, mitochondria, nucleus, cell membrane, cytoplasm, a lot of these things were the same as the animal cell, the one thing they mentioned that was different for the plant cell is this thing called the chloroplast, right? It's these green things right here. And that chloroplasts absorb energy from the sun to help make their own food. And the chloroplasts contain this green pigment here called chlorophyll. I know that's why the leaves are green, right? On our trees most of the year. Okay, last page. Okay, here it is, the big kahuna, photosynthesis. And this is your last page of 2-column notes also. Without sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water, plants would not be able to photosynthesize. During photosynthesis, plants transform matter that is not food, including air and water, into matter that is food, specifically glucose. Glucose contains chemical energy that allows the plant to grow and develop. In addition to chloroplasts, which are found in the cells of the plant's leaves, plants have other structures to perform photosynthesis. For example, leaves also have something called stomata, which are pores that open and close. They take in carbon dioxide from the environment and release oxygen. This exchange of gases in plants is called respiration. When plants take in carbon dioxide, not all of it is used for photosynthesis. Some of the carbon atoms become part of the plant as they are used for growth. Don't forget to always relate back to the picture, right? These pictures are really important. Plants have different structures to perform photosynthesis. Plants also have roots to anchor the plant. Roots also gather water and minerals from the soil. Plants need different kinds of minerals, including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These nutrients help maintain the plant's cells. The stems transport the water and the minerals between the roots and the rest of the plant. So now on the back of that other page, you have your page 8 2-column notes. And we know that the title here was photosynthesis, okay? And photosynthesis is the process, right? If we look for the actual definition of plants making food through what, right? Making food. See if you can find that answer. Plants make food. I'm not sure. Well, let me type right here. I'm going to try plants. Oh, good. Oh, good. Plants make food through, what is it, friends? Photosynthesis. I don't think I can fit the whole thing right here. I think I put a few extra letters in there. Photosynthesis. There we go. Okay, so then you should go ahead and go through the text of page 8, and you should look for the answers that help support this idea that plants make food through photosynthesis. Please check your agenda book and make sure you see which day that this reading and these 2-column notes is due. This is P, signing off.